The Makkah of Kinim, the third Makkah, Hashem brought lice to Egypt. The lice was all over the place. Every single drop of sand, of dirt, turned into another bug. It was all over the place, and it even went down a bunch of feet into the ground. Yaakov Avinu did not want to be buried in Mitzrayim. One of the reasons were because of the ground turning into lice. There were 14 different types of lice. There were even some that were as big as an egg. When Hashem told Moshe to use the stick to hit the ground to turn it into lice, we know that Moshe told the Haron to do it, as we mentioned in the past. The ground was good to Moshe. It opened up to swallow that Egyptian. Because the ground did something to Moshe, we kept mentioning it, but it's worthwhile of repeating how we have to appreciate everything around us. Moshe could not turn the ground into lice. Now, what was the reason why Hashem brought the Makkah of lice into Mitzrayim? Because there were a few reasons. But reason number one, they did not let the Jewish people bathe. For all those years as slaves, it would be hot, they would be sweating, and they could not clean their bodies. That was part of the torture that the Egyptians made the Jewish people suffer. Because of that, unfortunately, they all got lice all over the place. And because the Jewish people got lice for what the Egyptians did, now it's their turn to go and get lice. They also made the Jewish people sweep all the streets and all the dust all over the place. Also, they had to get punished with the dust, and therefore Hashem made the dust turn into bugs. Paro asks his wizards, could you guys make lice? Because they fooled him with the first, they fooled him with the second. Were they able to fool Paro with the third Makkah? And the Khartoumei Mitzrayim, the wizards of Egypt, they were so against the Jewish people. They were so evil. But even over here, they had no choice but to admit that it was Hashem. They tell Paro, we cannot do it. It is the Etzba Elokim, the finger of Hashem. For them to admit it was a huge thing. And they could not do any black magic at that moment. And Paro saw that if they can't do it, something here is much bigger than the average black magic that they used to have. Why is it that they weren't able to do this Makkah? There's a couple of answers. Answer number one, they did not have power with their powers over anything that's smaller than a barley size. The barley is like a little piece of wheat. We know there's barley that grows, and it's very small, but if it's smaller than that, their powers had no control over that. Hashem has power over everything because He is the power in the world. So since the lice were very small, they showed Paro that they can't do it. But we mentioned above that some of the bugs, some of the lice, were even bigger than an egg, the size of an egg. If so, then they should be able to do that kind of lice and show Paro that they have some kind of power over those species of lice. The answer is, there's another answer. That according to the rules of black magic, they had to be on the ground to get their powers. And now that the ground turned into bugs, so they're not really standing on the ground, they're really standing on bugs, and they lost their power. Chacham Ovadia Yosef brings down a story from the Gemara where there were rabbis that had to punish people who did practice witchcraft in Eretz Yisrael. They were not allowed to, and they had to get punished. The rabbi's name was Rabbi Shimon ben Shattah. He had to go and punish these people. He took his students, but the problem was, if he goes near them, maybe they could harm him with their magic or whatever it was. Today we also have to know that these things don't even exist. They existed way back, but today, God forbid, there's nothing to ever worry about with these kind of things at all. But anyway, back then, Rabbi Shimon ben Shattach told his students, we're going to trick these people who deserve to get punished, and we're going to pick them off the ground. And once we pick them off the ground, they won't have any more powers to do their thing, and they could get punished because they went against the Torah, against the Halakha. That's a little about the Makkah of Kini. The Makkah after that was the fourth Makkah, the Makkah of Arov, wild animals. We know that there was a mixture of wild animals all over Mitzrayim. The cats and the dogs got along because of doing Hashem's will. The mouse and the cat, whatever it is, animals that usually don't get along one with another, they all got along because they were doing the will of Hashem. When the animals came to Mitzrayim, Moshe, before the Makkah of Arov came, Hashem told Moshe, go meet Paro early in the morning by the river, because Paro used to make believe that he was a god and he didn't need to go take care of his needs. But Moshe went there and he beat Paro there to show him Hashem knows everything. You cannot fake anyone. We know exactly what you're doing. When the Arov came to Mitzrayim, the wild animals, our rabbis tell us every single kind of wild animal in the world came to Mitzrayim. But there's two words in the Pasuk that it seems that it doesn't fit in. Because it says all the wild animals came, but then it also says, V'gam ha'adama, also the ground. The ground came with the animals. Why is ground a punishment for the Egyptians? We know the wild animals came and punished the Egyptians for torturing the Jewish people, but why the ground? What does the Pasuk mean? So there are two answers. One answer is every animal needs its climate, its habitat. The polar bear needs cold weather, the gorilla needs a jungle, whatever it is, every single animal needs their climate. When they came to Mitzrayim for the Makkah of Arov, Hashem made a miracle with these animals that their habitats came with them. And that's what it means in the Pasuk, V'gam ha'adama, that the habitat, the climate, the ground came with them. Another answer Chacham Ovadia gives is that there was a certain kind of creature in the world that was attached to the ground. I don't know what kind of creature this is, but there are certain kinds of creatures like a Venus flytrap that's attached to the ground, and if someone goes near it they could get hurt. Whatever this creature was, it was attached to the ground, and that animal wanted to come to Egypt too, to be part of the mitzvah of Yetziat Mitzrayim. Hashem brought that animal to Mitzrayim, that creature, together with the land, since it was attached to the land, and that's what V'gam ha'adama means. Why did Hashem bring the Makkah of Arov to Mitzrayim? There's many reasons, as we know. They treated the Jewish people like animals, so they got animals. They also made the Jewish people so scared when these animals came to Mitzrayim. There were birds that were crashing through the windows of their homes, so they couldn't even hide in their homes and try to escape. They even asked the Jewish people to escort them in the streets because the Jewish people did not get the animals chasing after them, but the Egyptians did. So how come Hashem sent this? Because they were so scared, but they made us scared, and that's why they deserved to also get this fear. By the way, when they did walk together with the Jewish people and be escorted, they were still not safe. The animal did not go near the Jewish people, but it did punish the Egyptians like they deserved. When the Makkah of Arov was over, Another reason, by the way, why Hashem brought Arov, they used to get entertainment out of watching the Jewish people have to wrestle with big animals. They would take somebody, a Jewish person, and tell them to wrestle with a lion, and they would all stand around and watch as if it was a stadium and they're watching sports, and they got fun out of that. Hashem said, you made that happen with my children, with the wild animals, and that's why he brought the Makkah of Arov. When the Makkah was over, it was already the fourth Makkah Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim was already almost destroyed. You would think that at least they'll be able to use the animals after the Makkah was over, take the animals for whatever reason, use their skins, use their furs, whatever it is. Hashem, after 7 days of the Makkah of Arov, made everything disappear. They couldn't get anything out of it, only negativity, because that's what they deserved for doing only negativity to the Jewish people. To be continued. Have a great Shabbat.